Hey guys, it's me, Rebecca, and I'm back to teach you more cool stuff about how to launch yourself in doTERRA. So today's topic is actually mailing some of your samples. I know some of your samples will be to long-distance folks, and so let's talk about how that process is a little bit different. So mailing through the United States Post Office is going to be cheaper for you than any other branch because the packets you'll be sending are very small. They're going to be like the paper folded in a hamburger kind of way size of packets. So there's a couple of tips I have for you. One, if you go to the post office having already purchased like bulk, you can buy the little envelopes. I buy the kind that has a little bubble wrap pack rolled around it on the inside. They're a little bit more expensive, but my samples get there usually better and not broken. So I buy, you can buy 3 to 5 of them in bulk, sometimes from the dollar store, sometimes from King's or any other discount store. You can buy those in advance, and they'll be a lot cheaper than if you purchase them from the post office. So go get some bubble wrapped little packets. They're about this size, the envelopes, and they will fit a class sheet folded in half, as well as a few other things that I'll tell you about. So get those in advance. Package them in advance, address them in advance, so that when you get there, all you have to do is put the stamp on it that they print out for you. And that will make your headache at the post office so much reduced. Okay. Now, what do I put in these little packets? So this is going to be a little bit different than sampling in person. So when you sample in person, I really highly recommend the Healthy Can Be Simple guides, these ones, for the reasons I talked about, because there's no prices and there's no membership and nothing else like that is listed in there. They have to talk to you again for another experience, for the next level of commitment. But in a mailing situation, I don't really like to send multiple packets. It's all about saving cost. So I won't send those in this original packet. I only want to send one pamphlet to not overwhelm them, and it's the class sheet. It's the class guide. So whatever class sheet you have, if you have some of the brand new ones from doTERRA, the Natural Solutions for Healthy Empowered Living class guides, that's awesome. If you don't have those, maybe you have an older version, or maybe you have the Edge Team version, that's fine. These are the things that it needs to have. It needs to have how to use essential oils so that when you are either on the phone with them or doing a Zoom conference with them or something online, you can walk them through a class. The other thing that it needs to have is it needs to have the price list of all of the individual oils so that they can do price comparisons. And it needs to have a kit sheet of the recent kits. Hi, David. It needs to have a kit sheet of the recent kits. They don't all have to be on there, just some of the most popular ones. And then it needs to have an enrollment sheet. If you don't have all those sheets put together in one stapled packet like this, that's fine. You can print them off for free from your back office. You just have to do a little more work to put them together. So along with that packet, I will put in a few little bottles of essential oils, make sure they're screwed nice and tight, and then I would put this inside a Ziploc baggie inside of the packet, because if it leaks, the post office gets really grumpy with you if it comes out of the packet. But remember, we're not putting so much oil in there that it'll leak all over. There's only 5 to 10 drops in each one. And I will choose oils on purpose from the class sheet so that when I'm going over it with them, they can be breathing peppermint when you're talking about it, or rubbing Deep Blue on their body when you're talking about it. So make sure you're choosing oils that fit the class sheet. And then the last thing that I'll put in there is like a little note. You can do like something really fancy and put it in a card with an envelope with their name on it. It's beautiful. And sometimes I get that done. But most of the time, it is like a little smiley face and a heart that says, I'm so excited to share these with you. Give me a call when you get them. Doesn't have to be complicated. The third aspect of mailing a sample I want to talk to you about is really crucial communication. There's going to be some differences in communication with someone you're physically handing a sample to and someone you mail a sample to. Sorry, I'm yelling over the top of my Batman who's on the floor playing right now. This is real life, people. So there's, if you're going to be delivering a sample, there's like communication on where's their house, what's a good time. You go over and then you have like the contact of physically seeing them and handing it to them, telling them how to use it. We want to recreate as many of those connections as we can through the long distance process too. So you ask them if it's okay if you send a sample. They're open to using it. They're excited about it. They give you their address. Then what I would do is as soon as I get to the post office and I get home, I will send them a little note that says, I got it in the mail today. Be looking for it. That little piece of communication is crucial to keep them excited about it. Otherwise, they'll forget. A week later, it'll come by. It'll get like shuffled into their pile of bills, and they won't actually take advantage of what you spent money and time sending them. So make sure you get that little text in there that says, oh, and sometimes I'll do it late and I'll be like, yesterday I mailed that, so it should show up tomorrow or the next day, anytime. And by the way, you can ask the people at the post office how long it should take to get mail from where you are to where you're sending it. And they'll tell you, about 45 days. So then you have a good time frame to follow up with them. So if it's been 4 to 5 days and you haven't heard anything from them, then just go ahead and message them. Hey, I'm really excited for you to get the samples that I mailed you. Did they come yet? If they did come and they're like, oh yeah, they came yesterday, I haven't had a chance to use them. That's most likely what they'll say. Then you're going to set up a time. When would be a good time for me to call you and tell you how to use them for, what we talked about? That permission is really important. You need to make sure that you're calling them when they have time and it's not inconvenient for them. And if for some reason something changed in their schedule and they don't have time, a lot of the times they'll reschedule with me because I'm just giving them that perception that my time is really valuable and important. And if they call me at a bad time, I'll have Batman singing in the background. Right, David?
Yeah. Hi, Batman.
I'm Batman. Okay, so when they actually get the sample, it's important to, just like if you were delivering it in person, walk them through how to use that sample. Tell them this is where you put it, or this is how you breathe it in, and this is how often you should use it for whatever specific things you talked about with them. If you didn't talk about anything specific with them, like I said, stress, sleep, and muscle aches, joint aches are the most common complaints that everyone should have one of those three. So work them through how to use that sample or work them through the class. Those are the most important things for a long distance sampling. And you can either teach them a 5-minute class using just on the phone and using the sheet that you sent, or you can actually invite them to attend a long distance class that's done live, like over Facebook or over Zoom. I do a lot of Zoom classes. So however you do it, teach them how to use oils so that they're using them, and then follow up with them either the next day or the day after. Like, it really can't be more than 48 hours that you follow up with them after you've taught them how to use a sample. I hope that brings a lot of clarity to you, and I hope that mailing samples you're successful with. And if you have any questions about your particular scenario, then please reach out to me and ask. Otherwise, happy mailing.